A very good evening to all the participants. Myself, Dr. Srikant Upadhyay, Associate Professor, Department of ECE and IQAC member, MLRIT, Hyderabad. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sanjay Kumar Panda, Assistant Professor in the Department of CSE at NITW Warangal and Founder and Director of Taxmelon Private Limited. He holds a PhD from IIT ISM Dharwad and has over 12 years of teaching and research experience. Dr. Panda has published more than 170 research papers, edited 7 books, and received 35 awards from IEEE, IEI, IESTU, and CIC, including the IEI Young Engineers Award and recognition as an IEEE senior members. He has been ranked among the top 12% of the world scientists by Stanford University and Elsevier for the 3 consecutive years from 2022 to 24. He has led major research projects funded by Government of India and delivered over 300 invited talks globally. Dr. Panda has guided 6 PhD scholars, 30 postgraduate scholars, and 49 undergraduate students, and is currently supervising 11 PhD scholars. His Google Scholar citation exceeds 30,000 with an H index of 31 and I-10 index of 62. He also serves as a reviewer for leading journals, including IEEE, ACM, Elsevier, and Springer. His research interests include cloud computing, fog, and AI machine learning and IoT. We are honored to have him with us today and invite Dr. Sanjay Kumar Panda to lead the session. I welcome you, sir. You just take the session. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Srikant sir, for giving a long introduction of mine. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much to the Chief Pattern Chairman Coordinator, Dr. Radhika Devi Madam, and Co-Coordinator Dr. Pramod Kumar sir, and the organizing members, especially Ms. Anita, for giving me an opportunity to take 2 different sessions in this faculty development program on very nice topic, that is AI in education, tools and uh, trends in teaching. So the topic which is assigned to me is AI in large language model in the context of education. So please confirm that. Are you able to see my slide? Can
Yes,
anybody
sir.
Yes, sir.
confirm? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So although the aim of this faculty development program is AI in education, so based on the recent era, so it is not AI in education, it is a large language model in education. Because AI, if you see, it was a long journey starting from 1956 to till date. There are several different variants of AI we have seen. Like previous session, we have discussed about explainable AI. Sometimes we talk about interpretable AI. Nowadays, we talk about agentic AI. So the journey of AI started long back, and day by day we are getting different types of AI. But the current trend of artificial intelligence is more focused on the LLM, which we call as large language model. And the challenging part is that how to integrate this into our education system. Because for a teacher, obviously it is nowadays challenge to give different assignments to our students. Now teachers are also very reluctant to give assignment to the student in the sense that the student can explore different large language model and can provide the results. So there is no use of giving different kind of assignment until unless such type of assignments cannot be extracted for using the large language model. So there is a huge significance of this large language model in the context of education. So we'll see both the positive aspect as well as the negative aspect of the large language model in the education perspective. More or less in today's talk, I'll discuss about that. And in tomorrow's talk, I'll tell you that how you can work in a large language model. which is not limited to the education system, which can be generalized to any type of research and development. How we can integrate that large language model, that we'll see in the tomorrow's lecture. So both today's and tomorrow lecture I have organized in this fashion. You can see. First, I am going to discuss about the introductions to the large language model and different AI, and what is the necessity of these AI or large language model in education. Then I'll discuss about the background of the large language model. So the main important part in the large language model is the how we are going to deploy this large language model. Deployment of large language model is quite challenging, not only in the research perspective but also infrastructure perspective. Like if I want to run a particular model, so I need to have a sufficient infrastructure, or I need to have a resource with enough capacity to run that particular model. So I'll take a very simple large language model, which if you know about the large language model, you may be aware of such models. Like very frequently we say about the ChatGPT, which is a very popular platform nowadays. So how in such platform it is taking a text into input and produces different results. That we'll see in the background part, and how we can improve the efficiency of that particular system, that we are going to see in the background. Then I'll focus on the scheduling perspective. What scheduling says that? Scheduling says that if you have a set of tasks, and if you want to, if this task may be education related task, like a student want to do assignment, the student wants to go for self-study, the student wants to go for other things. So if multiple such tasks are assigned to you, how you can utilize the large language model to assign these tasks to different computational devices, so that that computational devices can generate the content and can produce the content to the student. So that is our scheduling perspective. Then I'll show you what is the latest development going on with respect to the algorithm perspective. What are the different algorithms exist? In what way we are going to improve such type of algorithms that comes under our algorithm design. Next, every system, if I want to analyze or if I want to compare a system with an existing system, I need some kind of evaluation metrics. So these evaluation metrics help me to compare to algorithm with respect to some performance matrices. So I am going to tell you about different evaluation matrices that are used to compare different large language model. So these are the 5 topics that I am going to cover in these 2 sessions, followed by the conclusion and references. So let us go to the basic part of this AI in education, or as I mentioned, AI in large language model in the context of education. Nowadays, you know, AI is a very vast area, right? And under AI, we have a very popular technique that is called as machine learning. And under machine learning, nowadays we have deep learning techniques. There are several deep learning techniques exist. So when we talk about this large language model, the large language model is also a deep learning technique, but in a larger sense. So some people refer it by a larger deep learning technique. So if you take a deep learning model, like most of you people are using Google Colab or some IDE to write the code in respective languages like Python, right? So if I write such a type of code in Google Colab, if I run a very large model, whether it is a machine learning based model or it is a deep learning based model, then you can say sometimes it says that you have to purchase the resources. Means resource is not sufficient to run your particular model. If I want to run a model for 100 iterations, or if I want to run a parallel model, for this you need a large amount of computational resources. If you don't have that computational resources, you have to purchase these resources. Like mostly in Google Colab, those who are working in the field of deep learning, if they don't have in-house infrastructure in their organization, so they go for different computational device upgradation so that they can run their particular model. So running a particular large language model, irrespective of the domain, is very challenging, right? So you need to know that how much resource is required, how to acquire such resources, how to get the estimate about that particular resources, how many resources I need in order to run that particular model. So machine learning engineers seem to find a new purpose of large language model almost every day. They want to integrate large language model in a smart city application. They want to model this in education domain. They may be doing the healthcare domain. They may be doing the transportation domain. Every day they want to visualize that how large language model can be used in different domains. And as we are educational people, as we frequently interact with the student, so we focus that how to take advantages of such large language model into our day-to-day activities, right? Now, like if I assign some kind of a program to a particular student in my computer lab or any particular lab, the student can type the same thing and can get a code from any large language model or like ChatGPT platform. So in this context, the students are getting or directly the code and they can run in their system and they can produce the output. But question arises that how to properly utilize that, how to properly utilize such type of system so that even if the large language model is available, the student takes advantages of that, but they are not fulfilling what is the purpose of that particular assignment. That's why there are many computer algorithms are there that have the power to help different people in coding, or if you want to write a song, or you want to create some kind of interactive session, or you want to create some kind of questionnaires, or if you want to create also a real life video content also. Nowadays, if you go to different reels, you can find that there are many videos are generated using this large language model. So large language model is now not only focusing into developing some different kind of content, but also it is focusing on how to generate different type of audio, different type of video. So there is no boundary, right? Earlier we are more focusing on how to generate different kind of text. And in fact, this is not new. If you know about Alan Turing test by Alan Turing, Alan Turing mentioned that if I consider a room, if I consider a particular room, and if I divide that room into, let's say, two parts, right? And in one part, there is a human being, which I call here as an interrogator. The interrogator has to ask some questions which need to be answered by the person or the computer that is present in other room. That means this interrogator is not sure that in this room there is a human being or there is a computer. So interrogator has to ask different tricky questions. Like when we initiate a chat process, we simply say hello and hi, something like that. But we need to also ask some questions to identify whatever response we are getting from other room, whether it is generated by a human being or by a computer system. And if this interrogator interact with a computer or a human being who is whoever may be present in other room, and interrogator feels after a 30 minutes conversation that no, it behaves like a computer, but actually behaves like a human being, and actually there is a computer, then we say that the Alan Turing test is passed. Okay, like in ChatGPT, we give different kind of prompt. Based upon our prompt, it is giving response. Just like a human being who knows that thing is giving some kind of response. If such type of response you are getting, then we think that yes, this is passing the Alan Turing test. So there is a competition at US that is called as Loebner Prize, or it is also called as a game. Every year they are conducting this game, and they award the winner of this game with 1 million US dollar. So you have to build a machine which will mimic the intelligence, human intelligence, right? Just like our ChatGPT platform. And this concept already told by Alan Turing long back. He told that over a period of time, people will not be able to identify whether they chat with a human being or they chat with a computer. That we know about the chat. So different type of things, not only the text, but also in audio, but also in video. All these cases nowadays we are using different kind of open source AI platform. Now you can see LLM can revolutionize the process of student and educator all over the world. Like if I am staying in a metro city, or if I am staying in a normal city, so education is possible. You may have a lot of options for education, but think about the remote people. Those people do not have internet. Those people are very away from the city area, so they have very limited options. So now we are thinking that if we develop a large language model specifically for the education domain, and if such type of things is available to those people who are away from education, then definitely it will be helpful for them. Another aspect is, you can see, like in a class we have let's say 90 students, we have let's say 100 students. So as a teacher, you teach in the class with to the 100 student having larger audience, but nowadays it is very difficult to know that who is learning and how much they are learning if I measure in a scale of 0 to 1. So identifying that is very, very difficult. And being a teacher, if you teach 3-4 subjects and every class is having 100 students, learning experience of each and every student estimating is quite challenging. So that actually we want to do through the large language model, right? Like in further slide also I'll tell you, in many debates people ask whether AI, if AI is mature or day by day it is going to mature, is it going to eliminate teacher? Okay, there is no need of any teacher in the class. So it is not like that. It is saying that how to take large language model to improve the teaching learning process. That's why what I highlighted here, if you look into the student perspective or educator perspective, we want to implement a large language model because we want personal learning experience. Like as a student, suppose somebody wants to record a particular video, like this session is also recorded. Just some participant wants that this video need to be available maybe for next 1 or 2 years. They want to see this 1.5 hours of video in 3 hours. That is called a slow space, which we say. Somebody may be busy in their hours, so they want to see this video for some hour, then they will do the work. Again, they will continue this video as per their convenience. So such type of learning experience is not available in the education domain, right? In a offline, especially those where we implement the offline system. During COVID time, we are recording the video and we are sharing the videos to our student. So in that case, student can listen to this video whenever they are free or whenever they feel good. But such type of personalized learning experience we want to achieve through this large language model. Now, in many cases, we have different materials. We are preparing different type of materials. Normally, these materials are available in either in English or in, let's say, Hindi or any specific particular language. Although some people do not have their mother tongue as English or Hindi, so they may be habituated with their mother tongue, means they are habituated with the local language. So if they learn the thing in the local language, it is more beneficial. Although our engineering system, if you see, everything in the form of the English language, but understanding a particular topic, if they want, they can do in their local language. So the materials which is prepared by a teacher can be converted into different languages. Okay, so that those people who are not compatible with the language in which the material is generated, they can convert it, they can use it, so that we can get engaging materials. Engaging materials also focuses on, suppose I always we can say that a image is a much better way compared to text. A video is much better than a image, right? So if I represent a particular scenario on the form of, let's say, a image, then somebody can easily capture that particular concept. Like if I talk about a vegetable, rather than saying vegetable in the form of a text, I will show the vegetable. So image is always a better way to understand a concept compared to the text. Similarly, video is always a better compared to our audio system. So can we convert our material into such type of things by providing different kind of examples, providing different kind of illustration, providing different kind of images, so that the student can interactively learn the system from that material. So that is also expected from the large language model. Another is called as tailored tutors. Right? Tutors are there, right? They are providing different materials. They are providing different type of learnings. So same thing. What the students wants that they should get a kind of tutor so that they can ask different questions. They can solve a different type of problem. They can ask different type of possibilities. All these things can be done through the large language model. So that is the main goal why we think about integrating the large language model in education system. Now you can see what are large language model. Large language model is nothing but a user is giving a prompt. Whatever we write in the chat GPT or like platform or any other platform you are using like Gemini or Bard, all these cases you have to type something. That typing something is treated as prompt. So there is a interesting area that is called as prompt engineering in education. So writing prompt is not easy, right? If you are writing chat GPT some prompt, that is not that much easy, because based upon your response, the content is going to be generated. The best way you can write something into the chat GPT prompt, the best way you can suggest something, the best way you can explain a type of thing, that will help you to generate a appropriate response. So response is directly related to what you are typing or you are giving the prompt. If you don't give the prompt correctly, then there is no guarantee that you will get a appropriate content. So here you can see a user is giving just like some we are giving some kind of query or some kind of prompt, right? So these prompts are going to be processed. Once a person is going to give a prompt, the prompt is going to be processed. In that case, natural language processing plays a very important role. You need to understand that what the user actually say. Sometimes the user type a something which is misspelled. Sometimes we write a sentence without appropriate grammar. Still, the large language model can consider that and generate appropriate response. Okay, so in order to go for this particular response, understanding the prompt is more important. And the content is going to be generated. How we are going to provide a response to this particular user? Through the large language model. Large language model has to process it, understand it by token, and through which it is going to generate a different type of content which will help that particular user. So LLMs are considered as I mentioned, it is a deep learning based model, but it is a large scale model. And LLMs are also AI low coded algorithms of a natural language that can generate probabilities of a series of words in one or multiple languages. That I already told you, engaging materials can be possible if it is represented in different languages. And representing, converting from one language to another language is also quite challenging, right? Although we get different conversion through Google Translator and other things, but it is quite challenging to get an appropriate content. But anyhow, the user will understand if the content is, let's say, 80% correct, right? So it is a low coded algorithm of understanding the natural language. Now, who can build a large language model? Who can build a good deep learning model? The person who is having enough amount of data. Like in education domain, suppose I want to build a large language model. So I need to have sufficient data related to the education. If I do not have sufficient data related to the education, the large language model will not get enough data to train. As a result, the response which is given by the large language model is also not sufficient, right? That's why we need to see that we can build a large language model subjected to if you have enough amount of data. If you do not have enough amount of data, it is not possible for anyone to build a good large language model. That's why you can see, if you talk about different search engines like Google, or if you talk about Microsoft. So these companies are there from the last 50 and 60 years, right? If you talk about many multinational companies. So they have enough data with them. So if they build the large language model, it is much more appropriate as an individual if I am going to develop a particular model, right? Because I don't have sufficient data. If I look into the education system, I don't have sufficient data. But these search engines, they have data of different domains. If you talk about education domain also, they have also different type of data. So obviously, they can build a good large language model compared to us. For example, in large language model, if I give someone's bio, and if I am going to ask some questions, like nowadays also, if you want to shortlist different candidates, that can also be done if you give your requirement correctly as a prompt. Then within a fraction of second, 1 lakh of application can be scrutinized. That also can do by the help of the large language model, provided you have to give your requirement very precisely and very clearly. So large language model will help to generate different things based upon whatever information you have given. Like here I am talking about a biography of a person. If I give biography of a set of people and I give a requirement, large language model can help me to shortlist the candidates based on my requirement and based on my prompt. So in any case, right, in any case, if you need some personalized work, you can take large language model into consideration. Now somebody can say that whether we can rely on this large language model. Like some of you also maybe use this large language model, and you are generating different type of code. But whenever you are putting this code into an appropriate ID, it is not working. Sometimes you are generating some numerical example, and that is generated. But when you look into this numerical example solution, right, there may be some kind of mismatch. So human being is always required to check that whatever response is generated, whether it is correct or not. Right? We are the correct. Human being is having the intelligence to check that one. But a large language model, they don't have any intelligence. It is acquiring intelligence through human being. So whatever it is generated, you can consider that as a baseline. So you need to modify that based upon your requirement to fulfill your objective. So there is no need to write any code or any algorithm from the scratch. Rather than you can take the content from the any open source AI platform. Then you have intelligence to know that whether it is correct or not. You can convert it into an appropriate form based upon your knowledge. So in that way, the large language model is beneficial. Now, if I ask this question, how AI in education benefit everyone? Okay, or AI is going to, or this large language model is going to replace the teacher, right? So a lot of people nowadays use the ChatGPT, right? At least those who are participant of this particular FDP, you maybe use ChatGPT for many purposes. If you want to write a letter, you can use ChatGPT. If you have written a content, you want to rephrase it, you can use the ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is nowadays available in our day-to-day activity, whether you think about the positive side or you think about the negative side. Now, this ChatGPT kind of platform, we want to implement in education in a positive perspective. Right, that is our overall goal. If we implement in a positive perspective, like engaging material, gamification, different kind of short content, then that will definitely help the student. So that way we want to implement the large language model into the education system. So some people are used for studying, right? Like there are many nowadays applications are also there. Like early days we have newspaper. Later we came with e-paper, e-newspaper. But nowadays there are many apps are there. If you install that app, this app will give you a news with 40 characters. Okay, or let's say 100 characters. So you will get to know about what's going on in across our country or outside the country by reading these 100 characters. But reading the entire newspaper, reading the e-paper is not that much easy, right? So process of studying and learning, these are very much easy when we go for the ChatGPT type of platform, right? Like if I want to generate a particular image, I'll give the entire text which is given in this slide. I will tell the chat GPT to generate a image which summarizes this text. Then once this image is given to me, so as a evaluator, I need to check that whether this is an appropriate one or not. If appropriate, then I'll accept it. If it is not appropriate, I'll give additional prompt to correct that particular image or picture, right? So we create different type of contents. Sometimes we also want different ideas to discuss, right? If I have an idea, I am putting that in chat GPT. I'm asking what may be the pros and cons, or what are the possible ways, or what are the related ideas, related ways we can solve this particular type of problem. That way also people use different OpenAI platform. But we are not limited to OpenAI GPT model, because GPT started long back, right? Maybe after 2018 or 16. So there are different versions like GPT 3.5, GPT 4, and nowadays GPT 4 plus. All these things are generated. The basic difference is that how much parameters you have used to generate the content. Nowadays, the number of parameters that are used to train a large language model is in the form of trillions. Trillions. Early days it is in millions. Nowadays it is coming trillions. So obviously, if the number of parameters are more, then definitely it is going to give the appropriate content. So day by day, it is collecting different type of data and generating different type of content. So when we go for school worldwide, they often different type of technical expertise to provide high quality education. So education, although we say education for all, as per our national education policy, but reaching that education in the same quality across the country, across different students, it is quite challenging, right? So obviously, like I mentioned, that remote area people, they have limited options. But when you go for metro cities and city area, they have a lot of options, right? They get more flexibility compared to the remote area people. So through, if we design some kind of this large language model, so this large language model will help us to provide a similar type of education to every student, whether they are present in the remote area or they are present in the let's say city area, urban area. So everywhere they are going to get different similar type of education. So in remote areas nowadays also, you know, they can get internet access to the satellite. Through satellite communication, we can provide the internet access. So large language model is suitable in the remote areas also. What I try to focus in this particular point. And more people can get an education with the power of LLM. Okay. And they can do with their personal choice. Right. If I want to study during evening time, I can do it. If I want to do in the night time, then I can do it. Right. So based upon the flexibility, based upon the time where the student engaged in these activities, they can do through the large language model. Now, here you can see how LLM benefit the educators. So broadly, I have divided it into 6 different areas, right? Like here you can see student profiling. Next is automated grading, content creation, instant feedback, student guide tailoring, and other scheduling. So these, not only these, there may be a number of things. I want to focus on these 6 different areas. So how it is going to benefit if I go for student profiling? So every student has some strength, every student has some weakness. Like in every semester, they read, let's say, 5 different subjects. In some subject, they are having good strength, but some subject they are having reluctant to read also. They have weaknesses also. How to find the strength and weakness in the education system? So that as a human being, if you do, it takes a lot of time. So through large language model, if I implement this large language model in education, it is I am able to identify what are the weaknesses of the student in which area, in which topic, that we can easily analyze. Similarly, you can see the learning styles. Some people, they are very extremely good. They want to learn more. Okay. And some people are slow learner. So how to manage those slow learner and those people who are doing excelling, doing good in Excel education. So how to compensate this particular gap? Because the same teacher is teaching to 100 different students in a particular class. So for that, the learning style will be different with respect to different type of students. That can be possible through large language model. So basically, we are focusing on personalized learning plans and activity. Okay. So that is focusing on the student profiling. Second one is called as automatic grading. Automatic grading does not mean that you are going to give the scores. It will give you it will award grades to the student. But it says that how to grade this efficiently, right? Rather than like nowadays we say always a continuous evaluation. Every lab, every class we want to evaluate our student. So if you want to go for continuous evaluation, if you want to do a efficient evaluation without wasting the time, so in that case LLM can help you to generate some kind of quizzes, generate some kind of puzzles, give some kind of unique assignments to our student that will help them to go for automatic grading. Okay, so teacher need to create an environment in LLM which will help us to generate different type of grading. Next one is called as content creation. I already mentioned about the content creation. Content creation focuses on gamification or game based learning. If I give some kind of game, then learning that thing people will be happy. If I am going to show only the theoretical things, people will not be happy, right? Similarly, I can create different kind of MCQ test, different kind of short questions, long questions, problem oriented question, project oriented questions. This will engage the student to learn a particular topic. So, and also interactive evaluations we can create, right? Interactive sessions we can create that will help the student to learn it more efficiently. Similarly, you can see instant feedback. Like students are usually getting a feedback after a particular period of time, like the end of the semester. But if they are continuously assessed in each and every day, so instantly they will get the result. Based upon that, they can improve themselves, right? Or they can see that why this particular problem is not answered, or why that particular problem I have answered, where I commit the mistake. Such type of things can be easily assessed if instant feedback is given to our learner. Similarly, study material to the specific characteristics of the individual student. Starting from, you can say, slow space to the intelligent student. Okay, the student who grab the concept very easily. All these cases, you need study guide tailoring. Okay, starting from slow space to any level of type of learning. So different type of learnings we can provide. Another is scheduling, right? Scheduling focuses on the students will attend different type of classes, different kind of assignments they have to do, different kind of puzzles you have to do. So LLM also can provide you an appropriate schedule in which you will carry out all these activities, which work you have to do, at what time you have to do what particular job. That also can be defined by the large language model. So LLM is not only generating different type of content, but it helps as a complementary one to the educators as well as the students. So it is just like a benefit for win-win situation, you can say. It is focusing on student as well as it is focusing on the educator also. Now you can see what are the problems with your existing systems. How LLM is benefiting the students. Previously, I told you how LLM is benefiting the educators. Now, what are the drawbacks? Also, you know, right? I'll discuss also what are the challenges, open issues. Here, I'm saying that what LLM is benefiting for students. So, many times, student wants to revisit a particular topic. Like early days, also, if you know that we write notes and we create a summary, right? That summary is done based upon what the important things we found from a particular topic. Now, if I want to go for LLM, like I mentioned that nobody is nowadays reading the newspaper. Nobody is reading that e-newspaper. Everybody wants crisp type of news. They want only 2-3 lines to understand what's going on. So if you want short news, you don't have time to go for the entire big 4,000 character news, right? So that can be done by the help of large language model. Okay, for better understanding also, some topics can be summarized, or if you want to revisit any particular topics whenever you want, you can do through the large language model. Similarly, a student performance and students feedback, student guidance, learning materials, all these things will be available through a common platform. Like we are using module based platform, module need to be integrated with large language model. The student can go through all these analysis, right? What is their performance, how much they secured in each and every subject, what is the feedback from the teacher, all these things can be summarized through a portal. Similarly, we can summarize different type of content. Suppose I don't want to spend a lot of time to go through a bigger chapter, but I want some important highlights about a particular topic. That can be done with the large language model. Translation is also one of the application. We can translate from one language to another language so that it also reaches to the people who are not that much confident about the normal language like English or Hindi language. They can convert into their language, they can understand and they can write in English, right? Similarly, programming perspective also, like I mentioned, coding, analysis, bug fixing. Sometimes we write a code and we get some kind of error and we are unable to trace that particular error. So I can take that functional block, I can put a prompt to the large language model stating that I am facing a error. This is the error name in this particular code, and can you resolve it? So large language model is trying to resolve that particular problem. So if you cannot identify the bug, you can take help of the large language model. Similarly, we can think about high adaptability. Like we have specific group of students, like there are many students with disability, especially they have learning disability. So they don't want to, they are not that much helpful with the classroom teaching, right? They want to learn the things based on their pace. Okay, whatever they want to learn, they want to learn in a very slow space process. That can be possible through the large language model. So in fact, the large language model has several advantages. Now, this large language model is used in another AI platform. That AI platform is called as agentic AI. What is the problem with this large language model, or if you go for the traditional AI based mechanism, is that traditional AI mechanism LLM is generating different type of content. Now, if I ask let's say a large language model or ChatGPT that I want to visit some place, I can spend let's say $2,000, right? And preferably I want to go for a place where sea beach is there, and I want to go for let's say 5 days. Can you suggest some destination for it, right? So what the ChatGPT is going to do, it has to go through your prompt. You have given different type of constant, like 5 days is a constant. The budget is also a constant, right? So based upon that, it is identifying some content and producing it. And if there is any deals also, like many sites they are giving deals, that is also going to be given by our this particular platform. But this large language model is not going to book ticket for you. The large language model is not going to book accommodation for you. It is not going to look for the local arrangement. All these things are not done by the large language model. That's why the large language model is used in another platform. It is an integral part of another platform that is called as agentic AI. So in education system, also we need agentic AI type of platform. Otherwise, it will generate different type of content, give different type of personalized learning. But what action is going to do, which we call AI in action, that is possible because of this agentic AI platform. So there is a platform here you can see that is called as IONI multi-agent platform that can be implemented in the education system. Who are the stakeholder? Student is the stakeholder, or educator, or teacher, or the stakeholder like parents is also a stakeholder. The management is also a stakeholder. All these people can use this multi-agent framework. So agentic AI says that anything can be done with limited supervision. It do not need frequent supervision like large language model or traditional AI, right? So it wants limited supervision. Based upon the limited supervision, it is going to generate different type of content. Like here you can see why I am saying it is a multi-agent. Multi-agent I am saying that because there are multiple agents are associated with for the same activity. Like assume that we book our ticket from IRCTC. So IRCTC is considered as a agent. I am booking my travel through, let's say, Go IBO. That is also another type of agent to book the accommodation. Let's say I want local travel. For that, Ola and Uber I am using. So that is also one type of agent. So all these agents need to be integrated, which I am saying a multi-agent. Okay, because without considering these agents, you cannot book everything, right? Although a user is giving prompt, user is ready to pay, but entire thing cannot be planned if multiple agents are associated through a common platform. So large language model is connecting connecting all these agents, and it is working as an integral part of this multi-agent framework. Like in our education system, what do you mean by multi-agent? So you can see there is a fast agent which is called as LMS. Now every institute we are using the LMS based system. Okay, learning management system. So through API and through API it can connect to the student data, because LMS is a learning management system. Who is going to use this system? The student is going to use the system. Who is going to put the content in the LMS? The teacher is going to do. So this is considered as one of the agents. So we are going to update the content or read the content by connecting APIs to the student data. Wherever your student data you are keeping through, let's say a ERP system, enterprise resource planning system, there you are going to push this particular data, and periodically you have to update this particular data. So this can be considered as one of the agents. Now the second agent is that we have video avatar. What do you mean by video avatar? Suppose I want to create different type of videos for a learning material. I want to teach a particular lesson in which I want to associate the important things through a video, or different kind of you can say players or different kind of people I want to associate to create a video. So that can be considered as one of the agent. Similarly, RAG responses. RAG is a platform which is used in the you can say agentic AI platform. Okay, so this is also one of the agent, okay, through which we can able to retrieve the information. We call that as a retrieval augmented generation. Okay, so through which you can generate, right? That is also one type of agent. Now the next type of agent is our large language model. That is also treated as an agent, right? So whenever you want to interact with some scholarship module, that can be also considered as agent. So we want to build a you can say end-to-end system in the agentic AI, which is not there in the traditional AI or LLM based system. Now, what this multi-agent platform will do, it can handle different inquiries. Inquiries can be done by a student, inquiries can be done by the parents, all these things can be handled. It is going to provide personalized recommendation through large language model. It is going to analyze the data of the entire organization, entire department, individual level, and it will assist you for different type of operations. Like business people use for business operation, education people will use in the day-to-day activities. So this particular platform is going to work for 24/7. And irrespective of the number of students, when the student strength increases, so we have a lot of burden, right? But when you use such type of multi-agent framework, this will help you to solve the particular problem. Now, the next question arises, which is very important, like many people ask in many talks and many debates also people ask, can ChatGPT replace the teacher? Yeah, can anybody answer from the, or you can write in the chat box if the option is not given to you. Can you answer in your perspective, can ChatGPT is going to replace the teacher? Anyone? Yeah, anybody having
somebody
any
said no, and but somebody is answering that already 75% is replacing.
Oh, 75% is replacing. Okay.
75%. I don't know like what is the meaning of that, sir. But already 75%.
Okay. So again, the answer is binary, right? we say that yes, ChatGPT can replace, or no, ChatGPT cannot replace. So you can see ChatGPT can replace me on my job. Okay, like business people also usually say, right? Even when there is a maturity will improve, right? So it can also it is also implemented in different industries. So many people are is going to lose their particular job. Okay, so many articles, many news we found this particular thing. Like many people also mentioned here, ChatGPT cannot replace a teacher, but it can support enhance a teacher. Exactly. That only I have mentioned in this slide. That from business perspective, right? Nowadays also, if you see, if you interact with many CEOs or CTO of different companies, they don't need people, or they don't want to recruit the people, those who want to implement the system from the scratch. Scratch means if I want to develop some system, I need to work from background. So that type of system nobody wants, because there are many platforms are there that will help you to do that. Like if you go for programming platform, as a computer science faculty, I will always say, early days people focuses on how to create different type of function. Like factorial, we want to do. So factorial of a number, how to write. Palindrome number, how to write. Whatever the things are there, we start from our scratch, right? We don't want to use any functions. But nowadays, all of you are using Python, or you know about Python. So Python has a lot of modules and packages having a lot of functions. Through this function, within a 1 or 2 lines of code, I can implement a particular function. And most of the functions that usual function or day-to-day activities function or general functions that are available. So which help us to not to start a programming from the scratch. Industry also don't need anything to start from the scratch. They want is that if some existing systems are there, how we can enhance that particular system. So in that case, LLM will help you to build the base system. Again, we cannot rely on LLM for the base system. Relying large language model or ChatGPT answer is not at all reliable. Like you can see that this FDP is organized by ATAL. You simply type in Google that how many ATAL FDPs are conducted in the year of 2025 and 26, something like that. Or how many faculty members are there in your college. You type. You will get some response which may not be a correct response also. That's why we cannot rely into the response that is given by the ChatGPT platform. So what I mentioned here, the main goal of this LLM algorithm is to help the teacher concentrate on the goal of giving high quality education. Early days we prepared the PPT using the text. Now we are putting this text and generating a content so that somebody is watching this particular PPT, then they may have an interest in my content. So the response towards my PPT in terms of the students should be more, right? Nowadays also we share different kind of PPTs to our students before conducting the class, so that they can, those people who are interested, they can go through it, and while you are discussing in the class, they may ask more doubts. Or sometimes you want to show a very complex diagram and it is not at all visible in your presentation. You want to save that one so that student can use their mobile or any ICT devices so that they can see that picture in more better way. So in that way, we want to improve our education system. So a teacher, it will just like a additional component, or we can say it is a complementary. Complementary means whether it is not given also, it is not going to be harmful. But we treat it as a complementary so that it will improve the quality of our teaching. It will improve the learning skill of our students. Okay, obviously gamification or representing anything in the images is really improving the skill of our students. So LLMs are really good at helping the teachers. But whether the content is correct or not, that we cannot rely. Maybe after a couple of years, you can say that the content is correct for 75%. 75% chance that the content is correct. But in the current scenario, we don't have a surety that whatever content it is showing in the ChatGPT type of platform, it is appropriate. So we cannot assure. Like you type some basic things, you will find that it is not at all appropriate whatever content is given by this particular platform. So we'll see what are the issues if we want to going to use LLM in the education. Nowadays, if you ask a student to write a base code, right? What I observed in education system, if I ask a student to write a code without using any function, they are reluctant to write. They are saying that if the functions are there, why should we write from the scratch, right? Like here you can see just a meme kind of thing. So here a teacher is asking students write a essay. Okay, and the student is reluctant to write the essay because the essay can be generated from a open AI platform, right? So these are the issues. People lack in the fundamental knowledge rather than they are focusing on the advanced knowledge. In achieving this advanced knowledge, they are lacking the basic knowledge. That is the major drawbacks what we are getting in the large language model. Now, apart from that, you can see that there are other concerns also. Like biasness is one of the concern. Okay, biasness is one of the concern. What do you mean by biasness here? Models cannot evaluate like a teacher. Even if you develop a good model, then that model cannot be evaluated just like a teacher. Right? I can develop a very nice model, a large language model can provide it, but what is the surety of that model? That we do not know. Right? That is a quite challenging case when we think about AI is going to replace the human being, right? So that is one of the challenge, right? Sometimes LLMs are only as unbiased as the people who are going to train that LLM, which leaves the room for them to do some certain type of stereotype writing or sometimes of some one particular point of view. Such type of things can happen, right? So biasness is depends upon who is going to train that particular model. Based upon that, we can say that whether biasness will be there or not. And whatever response is giving, I am not going to assure that response is correct. Similarly, ethical concern. Like there are many assessments. There may be a questions which may have multiple answers. But our large language model is saying this is the only one correct answer. So how to resolve this one? That teacher can do, a large language model cannot. Even if you ask the large language model, it will say that this answer is correct. Sometimes I observe that personally, that if you ask 2 plus 3, it is giving answer is 6. Again, if you ask is it really 2 plus 3 is 6, then it is saying no, it is 2 plus 3 is 5. When you go for a numerical example, if you have observed, such type of scenarios are also generated by that large language model. Now, the main issue that nowadays many researchers are also use writing research papers, writing abstract, writing conclusion through this ChatGPT platform or this LLM platform, which is unethical, right? So they are cheating by writing research paper, different kind of essays, different kind of contents from this particular platform, and they misuse this particular platform. So that is also major issues. Now there is an important concern here. Like many times we write a research paper, we want to improve our, let's say, improve our quality of writing. So in order to get quality of writing, I wrote a particular paragraph. I posted that into the ChatGPT platform, stating that you correct this paragraph. Then the ChatGPT platform can correct this particular platform, or correct this particular paragraph. Okay. Correct this particular paragraph, right? Whatever paragraph you have given, it is written correct. So whether it is unethical or ethical, can anybody answer in the chat box? My question is that I have written a particular paragraph. I have posted it into as a prompt into the ChatGPT platform or Gemini platform or any other platform and I'm asking that to reformulate it, or I am saying that to correct the improve the grammar of this particular sentences. But this entire paragraph is written by me, whether it is unethical or ethical. Can anybody write in the chat box? If you reformulate using ChatGPT, but original content is written by you, whether it is ethical or unethical. First answer is ethical, second answer is also ethical. Any more answer? Okay, that means most of you are saying it is ethical, right? So nowadays, many publishers, like if you talk about ACM, IEEE and other publishers, they want that you need to explicitly mention that you have used this particular platform to reformulate it. Okay. If you generate the original content, if you generated the original content and you are only using ChatGPT to correct the grammar or improve the grammatical skill, improve the English grammar, so that is ethical. But you need to mention it clearly that as a disclaimer that we have used this particular platform to improve the quality of writing. In that case, it is ethical. But there are many other publishers are there. They consider this as unethical. Okay, they consider it as unethical. They treat it as unethical. Using any platform to reformulate is also not appropriate. Now, if you go to one of the very popular publisher like Elsevier, you can see there are nowadays many research articles are published, especially in this AI in education also, where ChatGPT is considered as an author. ChatGPT is considered as an author also, right? So based upon that, a different publisher has different opinion. The only thing is that as you are generating the original content, only you are using for grammatical improvement. So it is nothing unethical. So it is considered as ethical, but it again depends upon journal to journal and publisher to publisher to say that it is ethical or unethical. But generating the entire content, if I take a content from a particular research article and reformulate, that is unethical. But if you are the original creator of a particular text and you want to improve it, that is ethical one. Another thing you can see here, hallucination. Hallucination is that hallucination. The meaning of hallucination says that which is not exist. Right? Sometimes it produces false output. Why it produces like output? Because the prompt is not given correctly. We sometimes we write only, let's say 5-6 5-6 words, and we want ChatGPT to generate something. Right? We are not going to explain in detail about what we want to actually get as a response. What type of response we actually want. So that is called as hallucination. Right? If you don't give an appropriate prompt, it is not going to do this one. Like if I give a prompt, it will give a response. Then if I give another prompt by saying that these things I don't need, I need specifically this particular thing, then definitely you can say that ChatGPT is going to correct it, right? So it produces different false output because it is not able to understand what the user is actually want to say, right? Sometimes we want to focus on a particular domain, but it is a lack of data related to that particular domain. So it is not going to generate enough content with respect to that content on appropriate content, right? Next is privacy consideration. If I develop a large language model for education with a large set of students, right? So I am dealing with a very confidential information with related to the student. Like, date of birth of a student. Nowadays, most of the time when we reset our particular password, date of birth is concerned, right? Date of birth plays a very important role. So if date of birth information is available to this large language model platform, because personal information means you have your name, your address, your mobile number, and all these things are available in the platform. So it may lead to a privacy concern. Large language model may lead to a privacy concerns also, right? So there are several issues which I have highlighted here. You can see the same thing is going to happen when you want to develop a large language model in education. So not only positive aspect, but also we have to see that privacy is not violated, ethics is not violated. Like agentic AI platform, if it is expected to have such type of platform by 2030, a matured platform. If such things are developed with limited supervision, then anything can happen. Like if a robot, if I develop, and robot can take its own decision, so robot can harm anyone also, right? So such type of issues will be there in the negative part of any particular technology. So as a human being, we have to see that how we can control it. So there is a very important question, how to address these issues. Okay, first thing is that anything can be resolved if you have diverse training data. Like if I develop a LLM for education domain also, if I ask related to any other domain, my model is not going to work. Right? Suppose healthcare domain you have developed. So it is meant for healthcare domain only. Like early days, you know that there is an expert system called as MySyn. Okay, early days, MySyn. It is a system which is based on condition action rule. Like if I say that I am having fever, I don't have cough, I don't have cold, then what medicine I am going to take? So machine system is going to provide you that which medicine is appropriate, right? Similarly, if a person is having running nose, having let's say fever, having let's say cold, so all these cases, which one is going to develop? So machine system is also developed for that particular purpose, right? So if we have developed a system for a particular domain, in order to generalize into all the domain, it is not that much easy, right? So models work with information in aligned with the goals. Whatever information available, based upon it is going to do. Like if you talk about large language model, these large language models are updated not frequently. They are updated periodically. So if any recent information you want, which is not available in the public domain, it is not going to answer you. But when we go for this agentic AI platform, agentic platform is focusing on the real-time data. It is not focusing, it is not updating the content periodically. Rather than it is focusing on how to provide the response based upon the real-time data. Like if I talk about YT finance data, I want to purchase some kind of stock, and I want to let's say purchase some stock. I am asking opinion to the large language model. So large language model give me a response based upon what it has trained, but not based on the real time data. But when I go for this agentic AI platform is going to give based upon what data it has received in the real time basis. So that will be more appropriate compared to the large language model. So, and if you talk about different institutions, different educators, they have different vision. So achieving this particular vision in a common platform is quite challenging. Okay. So if you want to achieve that, you have to collect diverse data. Like the way the national institutes are running, the way the state institutes are running, the way the private institutes are running, they are different, right? So if I want to develop a system for education system, I need to concentrate on all these sectors. Then only I can develop such type of system. Another is called as auditing performance. Why auditing is required? Like I told you, security concern, privacy concern, all these things are possible because of the auditing performance. If you periodically audit it through an auditor, the auditor will give you some kind of input which will help you to stabilize the system. Moreover, here we are focusing on how to handle user input precisely. User may not be, user has different knowledge, right? User knowledge is varying from one person to another person. So how to handle such type of input very precisely? Somebody can give you a prompt very in detail way. Somebody will give you a response with very in one or two sentences. How to handle that? So that can be done through this particular performance analysis. Another is that you can see that data minimization and handling. Sometimes we have minimum amount of student information without going the deeper details. Right? How you can provide a personalized learning? Personalized learning is possible if I go for the deeper analysis. Without deeper analysis is not possible. Like it may happen that a student is good in some of the topics of a particular course, but they are not feeling well in other topics. So in that case also they are going to face some type of issues. Now there is another thing called as educator training. We not only focuses on the student training, we need to also focus on the teacher training. Like as a teacher, like if you talk about the school teacher, as we are all engineering or science teachers, you know about these different recent technologies. But if you want to implement it in a school level, then those teachers are teaching to the student, they should be aware of this thing. That's why instead of focusing only on improving the skill of the student, we need to also focus on how to improve the school teachers efficiency or school teachers training. That way we can give a training to the educator can propagate that training to the student. That way it is going to be beneficial. So they need to understand different computer algorithms. They need to understand what kind of prompt they are going to give in AI in LLM for education. Then only they can teach the student. In this way you can utilize the system. Next is called as a balanced approach. Balanced approach means like there are many teachers are there. We should not fully dependent on the large language model. We should not focus fully rely on the teacher. Rather than we will go for a balanced approach for this particular type of learning. We'll take the input of the teacher. We'll also take the response from the large language model so that teachers, students will be comfortable to use this particular system. And suddenly we cannot implement a system overnight. Right? If I implement such system in overnight, many people will be reluctant to use that particular system. So the way we are running our education system, that will run. Plus, additionally, we are going to integrate slowly the large language model so that people will be habituated that system to perform that particular task. Now, you can see here the characteristics of there is a LLM EDU. LLM EDU means LLM in education. So you can see the first part, if you see the left part, it is focusing only on the large language model. And right part is the education system. This education system do not have AI or large language model or agentic AI or any form of AI. This is only focusing on the large language model. What we have to do? We have to integrate this large language model with the education, which I am saying here LLM EDU. So we have to see that each and every process of the large language model, how it can be related to our teaching learning process. For example, you know that the large language model is for the large scale. Okay, it is not a small scale. It is a large scale. The training with a trillion parameter is not that much easy. We can train a model with very few parameters, but training with a very large model is not that much easy. So in order to feed this one, if I go for large scale model, I need to collect that much data for the education. Otherwise, how I am going to implement this large language model in education? That is important. Similarly, we can go for the general purpose also. We are not going to be specific to a particular education system, like let's say higher education system. I need to also focus on school education, higher secondary education, or I can say upper primary education. All these educations I need to combine together to provide such type of system. Similarly, I'm not going in detail about this one. The idea of showing this particular characteristic is that you have to map the characteristics of the large language model with the characteristics of the educations to build LLM EDU, right? Like if you see this particular part, okay, in many systems, many education systems, the number of students are very huge. Number of teachers are also very huge, right? Mapping from the student to the teacher, it is also challenging, right? So how we are going to utilize this large language model in such type of system, starting from very small institute to very large institute having a, let's say 30,000 students, right? So how we are going to actually implement this education into the large language model. Okay. So in order to integrate this one, what we want to achieve, we want to go for interdisciplinary teaching. We want precise identification of personalized need. We need guided learning, enhancing the teaching quality effectiveness. So all these things are we want to achieve, for which is the vision of our LLM EDU. This way we want to improve the skill of the large language model. Now, what is the reason why you want to integrate the large language model into education? That I have given in 6 different points. Why we want without LLM also now education system is running. Okay, forget about the education which we are teaching. But if you go for many education system, they don't use the large language model. They don't use any AI, but still they are running, right? So why, if I going to add this AI or LLM into education, what are the advantages I am going to get? First one says that ability to adapt LLM to the education industry. Okay, ability to adapt, whether it is feasible to adapt that particular system or not. So in order to adapt this one, some of the basic courses, like previous session also somebody asked, right? That without knowing the algorithms, how you are going to implement. If you are working in the application level, then no need of this, but understanding this algorithm. But if you are working in the root level, these things are very important, right? So you need some knowledge of the natural language processing, because natural language processing is going to convert your response, your prompt into an appropriate form so that you can get an appropriate response. Similarly, you need the knowledge of data analysis. You need also the text generation. All these things, basic knowledge at least you should have in order to adopt the large language model in education industry. Now, second one is says that affected by the existing AI plus education model, the public has a high acceptance. Those people who have integrated artificial intelligence into their education, they have seen that there are numerous advantages. That's why any form of artificial intelligence, it may be LLM, it may be agentic AI, it may be any other platform, they are ready to accept it. Because AI has shown that previously there is a high acceptance. Many people have already integrated AI into their system. So for starting from the admission system to do, let's say the graduation. So all these things they have seen there are several advantages. So they also wants to integrate whatever the technologies that are going to coming in the future into the education system. Third one says that education enterprise implement their own education model development strategy. So if you want to develop your more individual model development strategy, you may not succeed. But when the global model is given to you, the acceptance is more, right? You can achieve your objective more, your vision will be more, right? You can reach to your vision, right? But individually, if you develop a particular model, that is not going to be beneficial. That's why implementing your own education system restricted with respect to your boundary. But when you enhance it to the other organization through this LLM, that will be more advantageous. Now, fourth one says that education industry consumers have strong consumption intention, right? Everybody wants that to work efficiently or smartly. Okay, so they want to learn many things because the technology is running very fast. They want to learn many things. I have, let's say, a lot of materials, but I want to convert that material overnight, right? So that can be possible through these platforms. So that's why I have a strong consumption of these things for my personal training or by improving the teaching learning process that is required. Fifth one says that ChatGPT brings applied change to the convergence of technology and education. If you ask some basic one, especially those people who are writing different type of content, so they are very happy with the content that is given by the ChatGPT. With a small prompt also, okay, with a 1-2 line of prompt, you will get a very nice way of writing a particular letter, writing a particular magazine, write a particular news. All these things are more easier, right? Or specifically social media also nowadays, whenever we are posting something, we put in the chat GPT and based upon their response, we put into our media platforms. That is more efficient way. So as these type of platforms are habituated by the user will not be feel reluctant to implement this large language model for education. Now, LLM supports the sustainable development of education, right? Because neither the manpower is required, nor the any amount you are paying to generate such type of content, right? So it is a sustainable development. Only thing is that you need an infrastructure to run this particular model if you want to specific to a particular domain, right? So these are the reasons people feel that integrating LLM in education is not a bottleneck. Now, what are the key technologies of the LLM? So here I listed 8 different technologies that required to learn for implementing large language model in education. First one is focusing on language modeling. Okay, and when you go for this natural language processing, again natural language processing, if you go to their predecessors, there are different type of natural language. Like first one is called as understanding the natural language. Natural language understanding. Once I understand that, then I go for natural language processing. Then once I processing that, I am going to provide the response where LLM come into the picture. So modeling of this language is more important. Like if you talk about English language, we have different grammars. Like we say that subject plus verb plus object. But if I place any subject, any verb, any object, it may not make a meaningful sentence. So we have to look into the syntactic perspective. Also, we need to focus on the semantic perspective That's why modeling of the language is more important. Next one is called as human feedback or reinforcement learning. So why reinforcement learning is that reinforcement learning enable us to reward a particular agent if the agent is performing good. If the agent is not performing good, I am going to punish that particular agent, or I am going to punish the agent those who are performing consistently. They are performing consistently poor, right? So in that case, I am going to punish that particular agents. So reinforcement learning is learning from the environment. Like as a small, if you talk about a newborn baby, the newborn baby don't know anything, but over a period of time, they learn from the particular environment. So that type of learning is called as reinforcement learning. So that is also one of the key technology behind our large language model. Another is, I will not say only deep neural network. It comes under the family of neural network. We say deep because we focus on the deep features. We focus on more number of layers. We deal with a very large amount of data. That is the reason why we call it deep neural network. So you need the knowledge of the neural network. Basically, it has three layers like input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. So there may be multiple number of layers or hidden layers. So that understanding is also required for the large language model. Another is called as the self-supervised learning. Self-supervised learning. So you know, machine learning is we say it is a supervised learning and unsupervised learning, right? So supervised learning case, a teacher usually present or there is a class levels are given. But when you go for unsupervised learning, you do not have any class level. As we are dealing with new technology, we do not have any class level or we do not have any teacher. In that case, we go for self-supervised learning. So it falls under our unsupervised learning. So you should be having knowledge of the machine learning and deep learning. Another is the concept of a transformer. Like there is a very popular model called as Llama 2 model, which we'll discuss in the next lecture. When you go for the Llama 2 model has several layers. Like it has input layer, it has or you can say embedding layer, it has a transformer layer, it has output layer. So these layers are interconnected to each other, right? So how you are going to generate different tokens in response to a prompt, that is important. So for that, you need to understand the concept of the transformer. Like I can say that there may be a transformer with 80 layers. Somebody can say transformer with X number of layers. So that can be, that knowledge is also required. Now next one says that LLM diagnosis and application evolution. University builds platform for large language ability detection and analysis. Okay. So we need to create some kind of application development. We need to periodically diagnose the large language model. We need to integrate some more data into the large language model so that the model can be periodically improved. So this way that technology is also required, that how to repair a particular code, how to improve the improve a particular model, how to give feedback to a particular model, that is also important. And prompt engineering, in fact, prompt engineering is a very vast area, right? Whatever prompt you will give, whatever prompt I will give, that is different. And based upon the prompt, the content is going to be generated. So we need to focus on that, how prompt engineering is actually working, how we can integrate it into the education system. So it refers basically the ability to interact with large language model. So the more you use of large language model, you will be expert in the prompt engineering. Those people who are new, they do not know how to give different kind of prompt. So through prompt, machine match different corresponding results, thereby creating productivity. So based upon the maturity of the prompt engineering, people give different kind of results. Next is learning cognitive mechanism. Cogniting is that how we process a particular thing, how our brain focuses is also cognitive computing. So how we are learning different kind of knowledge. When you learn a particular knowledge, how we are giving different type of response, that is also more important. So these are some of the key technologies which focuses on the large language model. So we'll stop here for today's session. So I told more or less related to the basic related to AI in education. So in my next lecture, tomorrow's lecture, I will tell you that if you have a large language model, any domain, it may be education domain, it may be healthcare domain, it may be agriculture domain, it may be transportation domain, how you are going to process such type of large language model in different environment. Specifically, we are going to see how we are going to implement in the centralized environment, how we are going to process in a decentralized environment, and why we are referring decentralized compared to the centralized environment. That we'll discuss in the tomorrow's class. So in the before closing this session, if you have any question, you can ask.
Participants can unmute your mics now, and you can ask questions if you have any.
Uh, good evening, Professor. Am I
Yeah,
audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you are
I'm Dr. Shashikant from Kalasalingam University. Professor, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you about this one hazard that hazard is to think about the AI, which we are hearing about, the bullshit index. Uh, uh, about like when we are searching of any mathematical equation, and
Yeah.
the students are learning from that AI. Particularly AI tools, and
Yeah.
the way we as a teacher, when we explained about the core engineering concepts, and
Yes.
when they are referring, so the thing like the time when we might have learned, and we have studied the concept, and the correct answer which is appearing, it is missing multiple steps, and even sometimes giving incorrect answer. So what do you suggest that like this is one of the disadvantage, as I could see from your session. So like how we can look forward for this, like at what level we can restrict the uses for the learner, because one way it is said that because the future is AI, so
Yeah.
restricting the student from learning from AI, because now they don't want, actually, as a computer science people, sir, that that no company MNC wanted that they write the codes, they should be good and generating codes and promptly. That is what the requirement. So
Exactly.
from that point of view, what do you suggest, sir? Like at what level we can foresee that limitation about AI, sir?
I'll tell in two perspectives if I understood your question correctly. First thing is that you talked about some mathematical symbols and mathematical equations. Then suppose I want to solve a particular problem. So our OpenAI platforms, they are not giving the correct response. If I understood your question correctly. So
Yes, Professor.
yeah, that can be corrected through a exchange of more prompts. Like I mentioned in my lecture also, sometimes I generated a numerical example in which it is adding 2 plus 3 in that one, not directly, but indirectly. And it is giving 2 plus 3 is 6. Then as a expert in that particular field, or as I have studied that particular thing, I know that these are the mistakes done by the OpenAI platform. Then I told the OpenAI platform, these are the different type of mistakes, right? Like 2 plus 3 is actually is equal to 6 or not. You cross check. If some mathematical equations are skipped, I'm asking that can you derive the detailed equation. So when you exchange more number of prompts, then it will try to give the appropriate results. So it is not always possible to give the appropriate results in the very first response. That's why prompt engineering is a very vast area. Many people focuses on now how to give an appropriate prompt. So getting the first response appropriate, it may not be possible until unless I go through this course of prompt engineering. But I can say that if you go for exchange of different kind of prompts, maybe 5, 6 exchanges, then you will get a better result compared to your previous response. That way we can solve this particular problem.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for insights.
Yeah, another perspective. This is one perspective. Another perspective is that sometimes we are whenever we are dealing with the mathematical symbols, sometimes these OpenAI platforms are used different type of mathematical symbol. For example, if I use alpha, beta, gamma, it has replaced with, let's say, another 3 characters. So such type of things also can happen, or people usually do for avoiding different kind of plagiarisms, right? Or OpenAI platforms, if you ask use different variables, that will represent in different variables. So this is called as abuse of abuse of different notations. We cannot change any type of symbols without means there are many symbols like we have pi. Pi symbol is a specific meaning. When we represent alpha in a particular perspective, alpha is a specific meaning. I want only alpha in that position. But this OpenAI platform has do not have that much understanding. When a user is asking to change the variable, it will change that particular variable, right? So that type of instructions only can be verified when you are working in that particular domain, because it is generating content. Whatever you will give, based upon that, it is going to generate a content and give a response. which may not be an appropriate one. That is another perspective.
Yes, Professor, I want to just show one of the problems, if my screen is visible.
Yes.
This. So there's a problem to be solved by one of the AI tool I have not mentioned, and this is solving this problem for a value of s. And
Yes.
it's not about the symbols and things. Like for example, it is solve the equation, and it is showing the value of s, which is it is a typical question of some engineering solution, and it is answering, and the student know only the step here where they get the answer of this s equal to root 0.65625, and that is equivalent to 0.81. So in between, like when we are doing a manually solution for these things, sir, for solving such kind of engineering problems, for a civil engineering student, for a electronic or mechanical engineering student, and getting these solutions, because they, by use of the AI, they will be solving this thing, and they don't know the internal steps between this, and that how to rectify. So this is what I meant to say. Like at what level a boundary, like we need to adopt the AI. At what level at this we can do this? I think it's a topic, as you mentioned already. It's a topic of big marathon discussion regarding this, and topic to topic and subject to subject. So this is what my meanings are like that. No, apart from equation alone, like this, the answers which is coming for a quadratic equation here, it is resulting in something wrong. So that's what my I wanted to know your views.
Yeah. Reliability point of view, we cannot rely on this OpenAI platform. But over a period of time, like I mentioned about a small child, if you ask a small child to speak about 0 to 9, the child cannot speak. But over a period of time, the child learns from the environment. In the similar way, we think that when let's say over a 5 years time, over a 10 years time, we may get a better response than what we are getting today. But again, we cannot assure that it will be same as the way you have calculated theoretically and got an appropriate answer, whether AI can understand that level and do the processing. But in many cases, in many perspectives, like that's why some people always says that if you are dealing with a critical solution, don't use this AI-based platform. But if with a non-critical application, where you can, even if there is a mistake, nothing is going to happen to anyone. So you can go for this particular type of system. But obviously, some type of system where it leads to human threat, like this aircraft accident, nowadays many news are coming. There we cannot rely entirely on AI system, because it will lead to huge loss to human being, huge loss to different companies, different people, right? So in that case, this type of models is not at all suggested.
Thank you, Professor. So I'm also associated with IQC, and as the organizer of this FDP, also they are IQC people, so they understand that we are looking for the AI implementation of the into the educational system. And this is one of the recently in our one of the IQC meeting, we had a detailed discussion regarding this, and that's what it came into my mind. Thank you so much for your insight.
So there is a question in the chat box. Many students mislead themselves due to ChatGPT and become lazy. How to lead them correctly? So that is true, right? As I mentioned also in my lecture, nowadays when you give a student write a particular program, there are many functions that are available in Python. That's why I always would focus my student to learn C++, because if you go for this traditional programming knowledge, programming language, you will create your foundation. And once your foundation is strong, you can later point of time, if you use function also, nobody will mind, right? Because you know what is going inside that one. In many machine learning approaches also, nowadays, let's say I want to implement classification problem or regression problem. People use different functions that are available and they can directly do it. So we can use this type of platform where we will get advantage. Like if you give some kind of project, real life project, and in that real life project, how we are going to solve this project? What are the different ways? So I may not get a single source where I can get these details. So in that case, if I am asking the same thing to the ChatGPT, so ChatGPT is going to provide us different ideas, right? Whichever idea is correct, whichever idea is wrong, that you and your student can sit together and clarify that whether it is correct or not. So this way you can take advantage. But if it is leading to let's say some direct answers, like if I go for an MCQ test, and in MCQ test it is taken through this chat GPT, right? If I put the question, it is giving me the answer. In that way, it is misleading. That is true. But we have to see that in which case it will be advantage, like project-based learning or some innovation in a particular domain. If I want to search for a particular data set and I am not locating in Google and I am asking that what are the possible data set through prompt engineering. So this way we can take advantages of this particular OpenAI platform. Okay, any other question, anybody?
Participants, if you don't have queries, we can conclude the session. It's already 9:07. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the organizers.
Sir, a moment, sir. Srikanth, sir, are you here, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for this fruitful session, and that involves about the large language model improvement. Okay, now, so it's a very nice session, sir, where how we can deal with the large language model for the implementation, for the development of the teaching and the learning process, personalization, automation, and innovation. So different types of perspectives have been shared by you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we will try to implement it in our teaching and learning process, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you to all the participants for patiently listening me. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow again.
Thank you, Prof.